I was sitting at my kitchen table that morning sipping lukewarm coffee when I decided to check my daughter's Facebook page. It wasn't something I did often. She was always posting family pictures, birthdays, trips, little moments with her kids. And sometimes, when I missed them too much, I'd scroll through her timeline just to feel close again. That morning I saw a new post. It said, "Throwback to our family memories." Couldn't love them more. It had 10 pictures attached. I clicked. At first, I just smiled. There was my grandson's first birthday party, the trip we took to the lake, Thanksgiving dinner at my old house before I sold it. But then something strange hit me. Something was missing. In each photo, there was a gap, a strange space, a blur, or someone standing too close together. And then I realized it. It was me. I wasn't there. Every photo I remembered being in, standing beside her, holding the baby, carving the turkey. I was gone, cropped out, erased. And in one picture where I knew for certain I had been sitting at the table, I could see the faint outline of my sweater sleeve still there, smudged over. It looked unnatural, like I'd been edited out. I froze. My coffee cup slipped a little in my hand. I stared at the screen for what felt like forever. My own daughter, my baby girl, had photoshopped me out of every single picture. At first, I thought maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was some strange editing app glitch. Or maybe someone else had done it for her. But as I looked through more and more, it became clear. Every family photo that had once included me was now perfectly cleaned of my presence. I didn't know how to breathe. I had always thought my daughter loved me. We hadn't always agreed on everything. She was independent, fiery, opinionated. But I raised her to speak her mind, to be strong. I never imagined that strength would turn into silence against me. My chest felt heavy. I clicked on the comments. Everyone was writing things like, "Beautiful family," and "Such wonderful memories." Beautiful family. Without me. I closed the laptop, but it was like I could still see those pictures burned into my mind. The empty spaces where I had once stood. The smiles that used to be meant for me, too. I thought about calling her. But what would I even say? "Hey, honey. I saw you erased me from your life. Just wanted to check in?" No, I couldn't. Instead, I just sat there. I looked around my kitchen. The same kitchen she grew up in. The same one where she did her homework on the table where we baked cookies on Sundays. Where she cried the day her first boyfriend broke her heart. And now, here I was. A ghost in her memory. I didn't leave the house that day. I didn't even change out of my nightgown. I just sat there and thought. Thought about all the ways I might have failed her. Maybe I was too protective. Maybe I said the wrong things. Maybe I wasn't there enough. Or maybe I was there too much. Mothers never know the exact moment they stop being needed. It just sort of happens. Quietly. Like the way sunlight fades at dusk. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about one specific picture. The one at the lake. That day had been so beautiful. I had packed all the sandwiches. She laughed when I put too much mayonnaise on hers. The wind blew her hair across her face, and she smiled. The same smile she had when she was 5. And now that picture didn't have me in it. The next morning, I opened the laptop again. I stared at her profile picture. Her with her husband and kids smiling bright. I hovered over the message button, but my fingers wouldn't move. Instead, I went to my old photo albums. Real ones, not digital. I opened them slowly, one by one. There we were. Birthdays, school plays, the old dog, Christmas mornings. She used to cling to me like I was her whole world. I touched one photo of her sitting on my lap, maybe 4 years old. Icing on her chin from the cupcake I'd made her. Her tiny hand held my ring finger. I remember her saying, "Mommy, I'll never let you go." I smiled through tears that wouldn't stop coming, but she did let go. And in that moment, I realized something that broke me a little more. It wasn't just that she erased me from pictures. It was that maybe, somewhere along the way, she had started erasing me from her heart too. That week, I tried to keep busy. I went to the grocery store, the library, even a senior yoga class my neighbor had invited me to. But everything felt hollow. People say time heals, but sometimes time just gives you space to think, and thinking can hurt even more. One night, my friend Linda came over for tea. She's known me since high school. Blunt as a hammer, but kind underneath. She took one look at my face and said, "All right, out with it. What's going on?" I tried to laugh it off. "Oh, nothing. Just been a strange week." "Strange how?" she asked, crossing her arms. I hesitated. "You ever see something online that just hurts?" She raised a brow. "What did she post now?" I sighed. "It's not what she posted. It's what she didn't." When I told her, she went quiet. Then she said softly, "Honey, that's cruel." I nodded. "I don't think she meant it to be cruel. Maybe she just doesn't want people to see me. Maybe she's embarrassed of me." Linda frowned. "Embarrassed? What on earth for?" I shrugged. "Maybe because I'm not like her husband's family. They're all proper. Fancy house, nice clothes, fancy vacations. And I'm just me. Simple." Linda leaned forward. "You raised that girl on your own after her daddy died. You worked 2 jobs. You gave her everything. Don't you ever say just me again?" I smiled weakly. "You always say that." "Because it's true," she said. We sat in silence for a while, the clock ticking behind us. Then she asked, "You gonna say something to her?" "I don't know," I said. "I don't want to make it worse." "Worse?" She repeated. Sweetheart, what's worse than being erased? That word stuck with me. Erased. When Linda left that night, I stood at the window watching her drive away. The neighborhood was quiet, just porch lights flickering. I looked up at the stars. The same ones my daughter used to wish on when she was little. And for the first time in a long time, I said out loud, "I miss you." But she wasn't there to hear it. 2 days went by before I could bring myself to call her. I must have picked up the phone and put it back down 20 times. Every time I thought I was ready, my chest would tighten, and I'd think, what if she just confirms what I already know? What if she really doesn't want me in her life anymore? But by the 3rd night, I couldn't take the silence any longer. I sat at the table, my old landline phone in front of me. I stared at her number on the screen. I knew it by heart, but somehow pressing each button still felt heavy. When she finally answered, her voice was cheerful. "Hey, Mom, how are you?" That tone, so light, so normal, it almost broke me. I swallowed hard. "Hi, sweetheart. I'm okay. You busy?" "Not really, just making dinner," she said. I could hear pots clattering in the background, a child laughing. "What's up?" I hesitated. My voice felt trapped somewhere deep in my chest. "I saw your new post. The pictures from the old days." There was a pause, just long enough to mean something. "Oh," she said. "Yeah, those." I tried to sound casual. "They look nice. Thanks," she said. Her voice was even, too even. I took a breath. I noticed I wasn't in any of them. Another silence. This one longer. I could hear the faint hum of her refrigerator through the phone. Then she said quietly, "Yeah, I know." That was it. No explanation, no nervous laugh. Just that. "Yeah, I know." It hit harder than I expected. "I see," I said, my voice shaking a little. "Was there a reason?" She sighed. "Mom, please don't make this a thing." "I'm not trying to make it a thing," I said, forcing my voice calm. "I just want to understand." Her tone changed, that defensive edge I'd heard before when she was younger. "It's just, those are my memories too, okay? And I wanted to post them the way I wanted to remember them." "The way you wanted to remember them?" I repeated softly. "Without me?" "Mom, no, it's okay," I said, trying to steady my voice. "I get it." She stayed quiet. Finally, I said, "You know, I used to think we were close." "We were close," she said quickly. "You know that." Were, I repeated. Past tense. Mom, come on, don't do this, she said, her voice sounding tired now. It's not that deep. They're just pictures. I let out a quiet laugh that wasn't really a laugh. Sweetheart, when you reach my age, pictures are all you've got left sometimes. There was a long silence. Then she said softly, I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did, I said. You really did. She didn't answer. I could hear her breathing, and for a second I thought she might cry, but she didn't. She just said, I'm sorry, Mom. I just needed space. Space from what? I asked. From me? From everything, she said. And then she changed the subject. Anyway, the kids are calling me. I'll call you later, okay? I said, okay. But my voice barely came out. She hung up first. I sat there with the phone still pressed to my ear, listening to the dial tone. She said she needed space. But how much space do you need before your own mother disappears from your life? I stayed up late that night again. I couldn't sleep. I walked around the house, touching things that reminded me of her. The old quilt she used to drag around when she was little. The wooden chair she once painted pink as a project. She used to call me Mama. I hadn't heard that in years. Now it was just Mom. Short, distant. I sat down on the couch and looked at an old framed picture on the mantel. It was us from when she graduated high school. I remembered that day so clearly. The sun was too bright. The speeches were too long. And she was so proud. She hugged me tight afterward and said, You're the reason I made it, Mom. And now, years later, I was just erased. A week passed before I heard from her again. It wasn't a call. It was a text. It said, Hey, Mom. Just wanted to say sorry again if the pictures upset you. That wasn't my intention. Hope you're doing okay. That was it. No heart emoji. No love you. Just that. I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. I'm okay. Just miss you sometimes. She didn't respond. That silence, it's a strange kind of pain. Not sharp, not loud. It just sits there, heavy and cold. So I started writing letters. Not to send, just for myself. Every night before bed, I'd write her one. I told her stories she already knew. The day she lost her first tooth, her first day of school, the time we got caught in the rain at the fair, and she laughed so hard her face hurt. I wrote because I didn't know how else to keep her close. Some nights I'd cry halfway through. Some nights I'd smile, but every letter ended the same way. I love you always, Mom. I filled almost half a notebook before something inside me began to shift. I realized maybe she wasn't cruel. Maybe she was just broken in ways I couldn't see. Maybe erasing me wasn't about hating me. Maybe it was about something she was trying to forget in herself. When she was a teenager, we fought a lot. About small things. Curfews, clothes, friends. But there was one fight I still remembered like a scar. She was 17. I'd grounded her for staying out too late. She yelled, You control everything I do. And I yelled back, Because I care. And then she shouted the words that haunted me for years. You only care about being right. She stormed out that night. When she came back hours later, she didn't look at me. She went straight to her room and locked the door. It took days before she spoke to me again. And maybe that's where the cracks started. Little ones that grew over the years, quiet and unseen. So now, maybe this was just another form of that. Her way of taking control, of owning her story, even if it meant cutting me out, still knowing that didn't stop the hurt. One Sunday afternoon, I went to church. I hadn't been in a while. I sat in the last pew, listening to the choir. There was a line in one of the hymns that stuck with me. Forgive those who forget you. And I thought, maybe that's what love really is. Not about always being remembered, but loving even when you're forgotten. When I got home, I took out my phone. I opened my photos and looked at every picture I still had of her. I smiled at each one, even through tears. Then, for the first time, I posted one myself. Just one photo. It was her 5th birthday. She was smiling, frosting all over her face, and I was behind her holding the cake. My caption said, "I may not be in every picture, but I'm always part of the story. Always proud, always her mom." I didn't tag her. I didn't expect a reply. But that night, something happened. I didn't expect. A little notification popped up. She liked the post. It was small, just a tiny red heart. But to me, it felt like the world opened a little. And for the first time in weeks, I slept peacefully. A few days passed after she liked that post. I didn't think much would come of it. I told myself not to get my hopes up. After all, a like doesn't erase the pain. It doesn't fill the silence or bring back the missing years. But it was something, a small crack of light through the door. 2 days later, my phone buzzed while I was folding laundry. It was a message from her. It said, "Hey, Mom, that picture you posted. I'd forgotten about it. I looked so happy. You made that cake, right?" My hand started to shake a little. I sat down on the couch and smiled through tears. I typed back, "Yes. You asked for chocolate with strawberry frosting. You said it was your princess cake." A few minutes later, she replied, "I remember that. You stayed up half the night making it because I changed my mind at the last second." I laughed to myself, remembering how she'd stood on a chair beside me, helping stir the batter, most of it ending up on the floor. I wrote back, "You were a stubborn little thing, but I wouldn't trade a second of it." And for the first time in a long time, she sent back a heart emoji. That small exchange did something inside me. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was warmth. The kind that starts slow and spreads through your chest like a candle flame. The next weekend, she called. It was the first time in months that her name popped up on my screen with that familiar ringtone I used to love hearing. When I answered, she said, "Hey, Mom." I said, "Hey, sweetheart." There was a little pause, the kind that happens when both people want to say something, but don't know how to start. Then she said softly, "I saw some of the comments on your post. People were saying how sweet we looked together." I chuckled. We really were." "Yeah," she said. "I miss that sometimes." Her voice cracked a little when she said it. I didn't want to push, so I just said, "Me too." Then she said something I didn't expect. "Mom, I didn't erase you because I hate you. I swear I didn't." I stayed quiet. I wanted to hear her out. She sighed. "I was angry. Not at you exactly. Just at everything. After Dad left, after everything fell apart, I felt like every picture from before was a reminder of things that weren't real anymore. Like if I could erase parts of it, maybe I could make it less painful." I closed my eyes. Her words hit hard. "Sweetheart," I said gently. "I never wanted you to carry all that alone." "I know," she said, "but I guess I didn't know how to face it." For a few seconds, all we could hear was each other breathing. Then I said softly, "You don't have to face it alone now." She didn't answer, but I could hear her sniffle a little. Then she laughed weakly. "You always know what to say, don't you?" I smiled. "Not always, but I try." That night after our call, I sat on the porch with a cup of tea. The air was cool, and the sun was going down behind the trees. The sky had that soft orange glow that makes everything look kinder. I thought about how fragile love is. You can't see it, can't touch it, but it holds so much. Years of laughter, fights, tears, all tangled up. And sometimes it breaks without anyone meaning to break it. But the thing about love, real love, is that it waits, quietly, patiently, until it's found again. Over the next few weeks, she started calling more often. At first, it was once a week, then twice. Sometimes she'd talk about work, the kids, little things. But every now and then, she'd bring up old memories, like the time I taught her to ride a bike and she fell into the rose bushes. Or how I used to sneak candy into the movie theater because I refused to pay for overpriced popcorn. Each story was like a thread sewing us back together, one memory at a time. Then one afternoon, she said, "Mom, the kids have been asking about you. They want to come visit." My heart almost stopped. "Really?" "Yeah," she said. "They keep talking about the cookies you used to make, the ones shaped like stars." I laughed. "I still make those, you know." "Then I guess we have to come taste them." The day they arrived, I must have cleaned the house 3 times. I baked everything I could think of. Cookies, pies, casseroles. The house smelled like cinnamon and vanilla. When her car pulled into the driveway, I froze at the window for a second. My hands started trembling. I hadn't seen her in person for nearly 2 years. She got out of the car, the kids running ahead of her. She looked a little different. Older, maybe, but so beautiful. "Grandma," the kids shouted, running into my arms. I hugged them so tight I thought my heart might burst. Then she walked up, holding a small gift bag. "Hi, Mom," she said softly. I smiled, trying not to cry. "Hi, sweetheart." We just stood there for a moment, looking at each other. Then she reached out and hugged me. It wasn't a short hug. It was the kind that says, "I missed you. I'm sorry. And I still love you." All without words. When we went inside, everything felt right. She looked around the living room and said, "You kept everything the same." I nodded. "It's home. I was just waiting for you to come back." She smiled, her eyes glistening. "I guess I took the long way home." We laughed, both of us crying and laughing at the same time. Later that evening, after the kids went to bed, she and I sat at the kitchen table, the same table where we used to have our mother-daughter talks years ago. She reached into the bag she brought and pulled out a photo album. "I made this for you," she said. I opened it slowly. Inside were the old pictures, the same ones she had edited online, but this time they were whole. No one erased, no one missing. Every single one of them had me right there, smiling beside her. Tears filled my eyes before I could even speak. She said, "I printed the originals again. I wanted you to have them back." I couldn't hold it in anymore. I cried, really cried. And she cried too. "I'm sorry, Mom," she whispered. "I shouldn't have done that. I thought I was healing, but I was just running away." I reached for her hand. "We all run sometimes. What matters is you came back." We sat there in silence, our hands still holding. The air felt soft, the kind of quiet that feels like peace. That night, after she left with the kids, I looked through that album again. Page after page, I saw our life. Messy, beautiful, real. Not perfect, but full of love. And as I closed the album, I whispered to myself, "I'm not erased anymore." It's funny how life moves on even after something breaks. For a while, the cracks stay visible. You can see where the hurt used to be. But with time, with love, the pieces fit back together. Maybe not the same as before, but strong in their own way. After that visit, my daughter started coming around more often. Not every week, but enough that the house didn't feel so quiet anymore. She'd show up with the kids, sometimes with groceries, sometimes just coffee. We'd sit on the porch, talk about random things, weather, school, recipes, all those small things that somehow mean everything when you've gone so long without them. I didn't ask too many questions. I didn't bring up the past much. I figured she'd talk when she was ready. One afternoon, while she was helping me fold laundry, she said, "You know, Mom, the first time I edited those photos, I cried the whole night after I posted them." I looked at her gently. "Why did you still do it, sweetheart?" She shrugged, biting her lip. I think I wanted to feel like I had control over something. Like if I could erase what hurt, maybe I could breathe easier. But it didn't help. It made me feel worse. I nodded slowly. "Pain doesn't disappear when you hide it. It just gets heavier." She sighed. "Yeah, I learned that the hard way. I reached out and touched her hand. The important part is, you're here now, she smiled. I am. A few months later, she invited me to her house for the first time in years. I was nervous, not because of her, but because it had been so long since I'd been part of that space. Her world. When I arrived, the kids ran out to hug me again. Her husband waved from the grill in the backyard, and she came out holding a tray of lemonade. "Come on in, Mom," she said. Her voice was bright, natural, and for a second, it was like we'd never lost time at all. When I stepped inside, I froze. On the living room wall, above the mantel, hung a large framed photo of us, me, her, and the kids. It was from years ago before everything changed, and this time I wasn't missing from it. I felt my throat tighten. She saw my face and said softly, "I had it reprinted. I wanted the kids to know where they come from, to know that their grandma's part of their story." I couldn't stop the tears that filled my eyes. I just nodded, unable to say a word. She walked over, wrapped her arms around me, and whispered, "You never stop being part of this family. I just forgot how much I needed you in it." That night after dinner, we sat outside under the string lights. The air smelled like barbecue smoke and summer grass. She poured me some iced tea and said, "You know what's weird? I used to think you were trying to control my life. But now that I'm a mom, I get it. You were just caring. You were trying to keep me safe." I smiled. "You'll understand more every year your kids grow." She laughed softly. "Oh, I already do. My youngest just told me I ruin everything because I wouldn't let her wear pajamas to the grocery store." I laughed too. Sounds familiar. We sat there in that easy silence that only comes after forgiveness, the kind that feels earned, not forced. A few weeks later, I got a text from her with a photo attached. It was a new family picture, taken professionally. It showed all of them, her husband, the kids, and me sitting beside them, holding her youngest granddaughter. Under the photo, she'd written, "No edits this time. Just love." I didn't reply right away because I was crying too much to type. That one message healed something deep inside me that I didn't even know was still hurting. The following Christmas was the first one we spent together in years. She asked me to come early to help decorate. The house smelled like cinnamon and pine, just like the old days. As we hung ornaments on the tree, she picked up one shaped like a little heart. The same one she made when she was 5, out of cardboard and glitter. She held it up and smiled. "Remember this?" "Of course," I said. "You glued so much glitter on it that the dogs sparkled for a week." She laughed. That same warm, real laugh I hadn't heard in so long. We hung the ornament right in the center of the tree. Then she said quietly, "I'm glad you're here, Mom. I don't say it enough." I swallowed hard. "I'm glad too, sweetheart." That night, after everyone went to bed, I stayed on the couch, watching the tree lights flicker. The room was peaceful. I thought about how close I'd come to losing her completely. How one small act, a few pictures on a screen, had almost buried years of love. But somehow, love found its way back through all that static. I smiled to myself and whispered, "Thank you." I wasn't sure who I was thanking. Maybe God. Maybe time. Maybe just the quiet miracle of forgiveness. Months passed. Seasons changed. Now every once in a while I look through that photo album she gave me. The one with all the restored pictures. There's one picture I always stop at. It's of her first day of high school. She's standing in front of the porch, holding her backpack, and I'm right beside her, fixing her hair. She used to hate that photo, said it made her look awkward, but now she keeps a copy on her fridge. She told me once, "That picture reminds me you were always there, even when I pretended you weren't." I smiled when she said that, because that's what motherhood is. Being there, even when they don't see it, even when they forget. A few weeks ago, we went to a small family reunion. Her cousins, uncles, everyone was there. At one point, they were passing around old albums, the same ones from my house. When someone handed the album to my daughter, she flipped through it slowly. She stopped at one photo of her as a baby in my arms. She stared at it for a long time. Then she looked up at me across the table and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "My mom's the reason I know what love feels like." Everyone went quiet for a moment. Then she smiled and said, "I don't say it enough, but I'm proud to be her daughter." I couldn't speak. Tears filled my eyes before I even knew it. Afterward, she came over, hugged me, and whispered, "I meant that." I held her tight and said softly, "I know." That night, back home, I sat in my favorite chair by the window. The moonlight was pouring in, and the air smelled like spring rain. I thought about how far we'd come, from being erased in pictures to being restored in life itself. There's still a scar, sure, but scars mean healing happened, and that's enough. I don't have everything I used to. Time has taken a lot from me, but I still have love. I have memories. I have my daughter back. That's all I ever really wanted. Sometimes, when I look at the new family pictures, the ones that haven't been touched, haven't been edited, I smile because I see myself there, just as I am. Not perfect, not young, but real, and finally, loved again. If you're still listening to my story, maybe you've been through something like this, feeling erased, forgotten, or left behind by the people you love most. I just want to tell you this. Don't lose hope. Love has a strange way of coming back, even when you think it's gone. Sometimes it just takes time, silence, and a heart that refuses to give up. If this story touched you, even a little, please like, share, and subscribe. Because sometimes, the smallest bit of kindness, even a click, can reach someone who really needs it tonight. And maybe, just maybe, it'll remind them they still matter. They're still part of the picture.